Do you have questions like what is Git? What is SVN? What is the difference between Git and SVN? What is GitHub? What is Bitbucket? If you have questions like this, then you are watching the right video. So let's start. This is Akshay Kumar. I'm a software engineer, and today we are going to talk about Git. Git. It's not an acronym. It is developed by Linus Torvalds in 2005. It's a distributed version control system, and it's the third generation. It has a local repository. About SVN, stands for Subversion. It is developed in 2000 and currently maintained by Apache. It's a centralized version control system, and it's the second generation. It doesn't have a local repository. So about centralized and distributed version control system, you will get to know while the video. Let's talk about SVN architecture. Consider there is an SVN server with the project files residing on it, and there is a user A and user B. Now the user A wants to have the latest files onto his machine. He will use SVN checkout command and make the changes into it, and will save the changes with the SVN commit command. Now the same changes the user B wants. So he will also use SVN checkout command and saves the changes with the SVN commit command. Now if you see in this architecture is very easy to understand and very easy to use. But there is a major drawback. Like if you are not connected to the internet, then you cannot able to commit or save the changes onto the SVN server. Like in this situation, if you wanted to have this project files onto some another machine, then you will literally have to copy and paste this project files onto that machine. And uh, every SVN commit happens, it happens on the SVN server. So this can lead to you to have more conflicts into your code. Now let's talk about Git. Consider there is a user A and user B, and in this case user A will have his local repo, and he makes the changes into his code and saves it with the git commit command. Now if the user B want to have the A's changes, he needs to copy user A's local repo onto his machine and make the changes and save it with the git commit command. But this is totally wrong. What if user C comes and he also wants to have the latest code? So there is a need of third party, and that's why the Bitbucket and GitHub came into the picture. GitHub and Bitbucket are two different third parties which works on the version control system, Git version control system, and provides you the server repository, and thus makes distributed architecture. In case of working, they are quite similar, but I prefer to use Bitbucket because they provides the private repositories, free private repositories, and in case of GitHub, you will need to pay some amount to have the private repository. Now, by having these third parties in place, the Git architecture becomes like this. There will be a GitHub or Bitbucket server with the project repositories residing on it. Now, the user A want to have the code uh, files onto his machine, then he will use the git clone command to get the files. This will create the local repo onto his machine, make the changes, and saves it with the git commit command. Now, when he get connected to the internet, he will use the git push command to push the code onto the server. Now, let's suppose if user B comes and he also wanted to have the code, he will use the git clone command to copy the repositories onto his machine. Now, this will create the local repo onto his machine. He makes the changes, saves it with the git commit command, and push it with the git push command when he get connected to the internet. Now, if the user A wants to have all the changes including B, he will just use git pull command to get all the code onto his machine. Thanks for watching. If you find this video helpful, then please like, subscribe, and share.